Habibi's Collectibles, back from the National. We survived. I got a quick interview with Gary Vee and Mojo Sports to share towards the end of the video. Make sure you watch to the end. But until then, I got 13 compliments / issues / critiques of the National that those who attended, those who planned, and those who want to go next year should listen to. Let's go, Habibis. All right, everybody, let's jump right into my list. First of all, I want to say I didn't hold back when it came to the list. I didn't decide to come up with 5 items or 7 items or 9 items and then just try to think of some way to fill that list. I did 13 items because I wrote down 13 things. So we're going to go through them one by one, and I hope you enjoy this video. So again, let's jump right in. First item on my list. As somebody who has planned successful events all over the country, if not the world, I will tell you, I have to start with number 1. Applause for those that volunteered, those who helped organize the National. Planning is hard. Planning is really, really hard. Half of you guys don't know how to plan your kid's birthday. You don't know how to plan your own birthday party. You don't know how to plan to go fill up gas. You end up on the side of the road having to call AAA or somebody pick you up. So let's not act like we're all planners. So we have to give credit where credit is due and tell people it was a great job. I can't imagine having to plan all of those little details, from every single dealer having issues and questions and where's my table and where's my power and what's the Wi-Fi and all of those things, to hanging up all of those banners all over, all the banners outside, making sure that every sponsor had everything that they need, make sure every VIP had their driver and had their ride and had their pickup, make sure every autograph session went the way it was supposed to go. So yeah, there's a lot of hiccups, but I'm going to start from the top and say great job to the National planners, because you really did check off so many boxes that we take for granted as people in the hobby, as just attendees of the convention. So I want to say thank you to you all for all the work that you did. Item number 2 is that kids must be drug dealers and they're rich and they're so wealthy. These kids that were walking around, and when I say kid, I'm talking about honestly teenagers and below, are walking around with like 6-figure cards in their cases. I don't know if they are selling their textbooks in school or if they're selling their parents after school. I don't know what they're selling. I'm hoping it's not illegal. I'm hoping it's not just gift from mommy or daddy. I don't know where the cash is coming from, but the cash is there. Now, that's going to be a little bit of a, I don't know, disputed thing, because like people will say, what's the problem? It's not so much the cash. Like if you got cash, you got money, you know, I had a money bag. A lot of people had money bags, whether you do the crossbody, you put in your backpack, whether you do the safest thing in the world and hand it to your wife, because that way it's even harder to get it back out, because they're going to hold on to it and say, why are you buying that? You know, I don't know if that's your way of doing it, but I don't mind it. I don't mind that you've got cash. But the problem that I have is that some of the kids, not all, but some of the kids to me came off very avaricious. Avaricious. I'll give you a second. That. These kids just didn't seem like they were there for any reason other than to kind of one-up each other and spend money and do a deal. And they would walk up to you and they would just, you know, so many of these kids would walk up and be like, hey, what's up, man? And I'm like just sitting down at a table with some of my cards in front of me. And I'm like, what's going on? Like these kids, these kids were walking up like they were 9 years old and they already had like a beard and they already had kind of that smoky, like, hey, how much for that card? Like, where did you get that? Where did you get that accent at such a, like, how did you grow? I don't know. I don't know how that happened. But these kids were just like, it was somebody put them into some sort of air fryer. That's all I can think of because the oven takes a long time to cook and the air fryer is like quick. So in the scheme of life, they were put in the hobby air fryer and put for like 5 minutes, or maybe it was like a slow cooker. No, it wasn't a slow cooker because it was quick. Maybe it was a, I don't know what it was, but whatever it was, Instant Pot. That's what it was. These kids have gone through the Instant Pot of hobby. And somebody turned on the timer and they came out, they had beards. They're, I don't know what it was. I'm not condoning that, by the way. I hate cigarette smoke. But these kids had like six figs, and I don't mean fig Newtons. I'm talking about the dollars, six figs, in their pockets, thousands of dollars. But also some of the kids who didn't have thousands of dollars, like they were, kind of hating on whatever you had. In fact, I really do feel some of them might have been sick. Like they really had like hobby hateritis and hobby hateritis. All right, I'll give you a second. That's right. Yeah, they had that. Yeah, that's my word. So they had hobby hateritis. So you would literally grab a card, like I'll grab one now, like, oh, look, Jason Tatum. Oh, nice. PSA 10. Check this out. Like one of their friends would go, check what I got. Did you hear about his injury? He's like done for the season. He might be done for life. Like he's never going to play basketball again, ever. Like, no matter who you grabbed, I could literally grab stuff off of here. Patrick Mahomes, he's washed up. Okay. Gary Vee, who even collects V friends? Caitlin Clark, she's injured. Josh Allen, he hasn't won some Super Bowl. Jaden Daniels, he hasn't won a Super Bowl either. It's been a year. Like, they didn't care. It was hobby hateritis. And to me, that's a problem because it's making people so hungry and just, they were just, I don't know, like it felt to me very much like rabid dogs in some cases. I hate to say it, not all the kids, but some of them, and some of the adults too. We'll get to you guys. But they were just like, hey, I need that card. How am I going to get that card? Where am I going to get, like, I don't know. I felt that that's a little bit problematic. Like, I almost feel like we need to go back in time a little bit and kind of reconfigure them so that they understand that, like, you shouldn't just chase after $100,000 card. Like, maybe you should just calm down a little bit. And it's not, again, because I'm being a hater or I don't want them to have money or I don't want them to have great cards or that it's any of my business how much money they or their family have. What I'm saying is that there are times where it goes too far. There are times where if you don't participate in their trade up challenge, you get like smacked. There are times where they'll come in and they'll look at cards that you have and they'll be straight up rude because they're like, you're not giving me the price that I want. They just turn into like these bots who are just there to just do transactions. And relationships are a big part of the hobby. It's been a part of my life for a long time. Relationships are a big deal. So I am worried a little bit about the kids. All right. Item 3 were the lines. Somebody was saying to me that they felt the lines were a lot more organized. I need to know, what were they when they were unorganized, if what I saw was organized. And the reason I'm saying that is because there were a lot of times where I stood in lines as I was supposed to, like even on opening night when they were doing the VIP early access for a small portion of the 2.7 million people that were apparently allowed early access. That line, I was in that line and the line went all the way down a hallway and then double back. So people would come down towards us and we're like, why are you standing here? You should stand on that other side because this snakes around. All the people then, when they opened the doors who were at the very end of the line, because it snaked around, got in. And we were left waiting. So there were a lot of times where the lines were just so long that people resorted to dirty tactics. And there wasn't really a mechanism in place to slow that down or stop that. And I just felt like the lines were a problem. And in some cases, some of the vendors who had a lot of buying and selling going on at their booths, a lot of them were very popular. They had maybe social media followers. They probably should have been arranged in such a way that allowed them to have lines to a certain side of their booth. So that way lines can just go on and not literally create a congestion and an issue for some of the other smaller dealers who now couldn't sell anything because it was just lines of people wrapped and weaved around their booth and you couldn't get to them. So if I was a dealer at those booths, I would have said, hey, they can't come to me. They can't get to me because they're waiting for your redemption thing or they're waiting for this or that. I just felt like there could have been some adjustments to that to allow some of the lines to snake around various areas a little bit better. And I felt like there was enough planning done for some of the line areas that it was almost as if they expected 500 people to be waiting in line and didn't expect there to be several thousand. And that kind of threw me off because you should have expected several thousand. And so I think there should be some work a little bit more on how you snake the lines and maybe adjust some of the timings for some of the different special parts of the event. Just a thought, especially if it's somebody large like Tops or something doing some crazy redemption. If you know there's going to be huge lines for that kind of thing, why not get them towards the back of one of the rooms? Or if you have all this extra space, actually all the way upstairs where an entire half of that room wasn't being used, why not have redemption stations there? Why not put redemption stations by the autograph area? Like, I just feel like there were options there and they didn't take them. The next item is speaking about the free autographs that came with the VIP package. This is going to sound a little bit like I'm unappreciative, but if you're into anything modern, there really wasn't a single free autograph that would appeal to you. That's the long and short of it. A lot of the names were very much older names, weren't individuals that anybody who is, 35 or younger would have a high appreciation for. And I'm saying it that way to let it be known. I'm not dissing the people who are doing the autographs. I'm only simply saying that somebody who is of a certain age wouldn't have an appreciation for what they accomplish because they don't know them very much. And so I just think that if you were going to do free autographs as part of the VIP and the second level of VIP, why not just give them one sought after autograph or let them choose the one that they want? So if I knew as a VIP I could get Giannis or Allen Iverson or somebody along those lines, I think that would have been an amazing thing. And then you don't need to give me the other 12 for free or 15 for free and have people running around selling coupons and walking up to you saying, are you going to be using your autograph coupons? I'd love to donate them. And then suddenly these people are saying that they want to take it for donations. And then I think some of the organizers at National were saying, we're walking through. And again, if they weren't organizers, that's kind of not my fault. It's more the Nationals' fault if it was hard for me to tell who an organizer was. So wink, wink, maybe that's something you should work on. But they were walking through and asking you to take your autographs as some sort of I think, give back to the troops. I'll be honest with you. How do I know that's legit? There's people walking around trying to take your stuff the entire time. And then these random people are saying that they're going to turn that into money for autographs, for troops, or something along those lines. It was very confusing to me. So my recommendation would be to give us like that one universal coupon that we can then go and grab that one or two or three autographs from special people. And I think that should be something that maybe is built into the compensation package for those that are doing the autographs to say, hey, listen, we'll let you take this money from the general population, but we are going to allow people as part of the VIP package to come and get a photo. Or to come and get an autograph. Even if it's not inscription or anything like that, give us an opportunity to use some of those funds that we put into, and we were told we were going to get all these extra autographs, but they weren't very appealing for somebody like me, at least. In terms of the check-in process, I know that they had mentioned on the website that you can check in a little bit early. When I called the phone number, they told me, this is specifically what the gentleman told me. He said, this is what he told me. He said, 50 weeks out of the year, you would be getting someone else on this line that has an answer to all of your questions. But for 2 weeks out of the year, you are going to get me. And I think I know a lot of the answers, but I may not know everything. So go ahead and ask. The first question I asked is, as a VIP, what time should I show up to pick up my pamphlet? Because I've heard mixed messaging on what time is the best time to go. He mentioned to me that he thinks it was 3 o'clock. Fast forward, I showed up at 12 and there was already a line, and I got my badge a few minutes after standing in line. I was one of the first ones. So the 3 o'clock was way off. The second thing is I was supposed to receive complimentary parking as part of my VIP package. He had no clue. He said in all the years he's been doing this, he's never had anyone ask about parking. Hard to believe. So I am roping this feedback into the part about check-in simply because I felt like that was a part of the check-in, like knowing what time I can come and pick things up. And yes, there is information on the site, but some of the information that I got and some of the things that happened in real life contradicted that information that I got. Especially this guy that gave me the speech about 50 weeks out of the year, you'd get somebody else. But for 2 weeks, okay, I got it, bro. But yeah, there wasn't a lot of great information that came from there. He was trying his best. He just didn't know, nor did he know how I can get more information. And when I mentioned the website, he said, I don't even know if they update that. In addition, when I showed up to actually pick up the packet, I stood in a line. A lady started yelling, saying, if you've got all access VIP, you're on this side. If you've got regular VIP, you're on this side. My thought was, with as much time and planning as went into this, I felt like we should have known that before everybody started lining up, because then everybody started to split up and go to a line. And like, I had my wife who was not an all access VIP, but still a VIP. And I was trying to find out, do I get in this line or that line? Do we need to split up? Like, how specific is this? And when I got to the front of the line, the lady said, hey, it doesn't matter which one you are. We'll help anybody. It's fine. And I said, okay, because I was about to jump out of this line. She said, I have to go over there. They said, don't worry about it. But they were so busy that to stand there and ask additional questions, as nice as they are, you could tell it was kind of like that doctor that is like at urgent care or something and just wants to move on to the next patient, because they were like, yeah, whatever you need. You need me? You need me? Okay, I'll come over. What was that you just said? Oh, the parking. Parking. I don't know. I don't know. Parking. Did you need something? Yeah, I'll be there. I'm just finishing up with him in 2 seconds. I'm going to ignore him in about 2 seconds. Yes, how can I help you? Like, it was so obvious that they were very, very, very busy. Again, very nice. Again, trying to be helpful, but be able to have back and forth and verify some of the things that were in the packet. Like, I think it would have been great is as they took the packet, if they came in and they were just like, hey, just let you know, this piece of paper that's in there, it's going to detail everything. Like, what would it have taken if an extra 2 or 3 pieces of paper went in there just to explain what you're seeing in your packet? I think that would help. Again, maybe my organizer side is coming out, but I think that would help and say, hey, the green piece of paper inside explains everything in your packet, what to do, important dates and times and all that. I don't feel like I got that. I felt like some of that stuff was in the program, but yeah, I think that could have been a little bit better and made the line go a little bit smoother when it came to check in and check out. The next was a logistical item that probably has very little to do with the organizers and more so with the dealer booths and the corporate booths and things like that. There were a lot of people who were promising certain things at certain times. And I think their planning was a little too aggressive and too surgical. There were a lot of booths who would tell you, hey, we're going to do a card giveaway at 1:30. And another booth would say, we're going to do our own card giveaway at 2:30. And then another booth would say, you can come pick up these special packs for free at 3:30, right? So you have 1:30, 2:30, and 3:30. You get to the 1:30 and you realize there's a line that's been there since 12, and they're now saying because of the amount of people, they want to make sure everybody gets one. They're going to go ahead and delay theirs till 2:15. So now you're standing in line for an extra 45 minutes or more, actually maybe another hour, just to get that thing. And now that other booth that you were trying to kind of time things out so you can attend that, now that was thrown off. Come to find out, when you get to that one, there was too many people, so they actually had to do it early. So now the 1:30 was starting at 2:30 and the 2:30 started at 2. And guess what? The 3 o'clock and the 3:30, they ran out of supplies. But there was no way to find that out. There was no like push notification on the app or something that says the Tops thing is starting now or this other thing is canceled. There was no way to really get that information. And so I think just the timings of some of those special things could have been worked out a little bit better. I even felt that some people were saying that the trade nights and all of those, it was very much hearsay. Like you would just hear somebody mention something, then you would double check it, then you would hear from another person. So you're really trying to, by aggregate here, try to collect as much information as you can to decide, where am I going? What am I doing? Like at times I found myself walking 5 steps to the left and 5 steps to the right. And I was like, I don't know which way to go at this point because I don't know what's happening on the other side over there. I honestly felt like it was like at one point like I Am Legend. Like there were areas I'd walk in that I thought we packed and there was nobody there. There was not a soul around. And I was like, am I in the wrong place? I would double back, come to find out I was just first in that other place and everybody went there as I was leaving there. It was a bad look. So I really think we can get better a little bit with the timings. And that threw me off. And for somebody like myself who likes to kind of script things a little bit more, I realized I would just have to be very loosey-goosey in this situation and just kind of, go with the flow and just walk around and see things as I saw them. And that's what I tried to do. But I wish some of the planning that was done from the different booths and vendors, I really wish that they almost kind of stuck to their plan a little bit more, or planned under the assumption that they were going to have a lot of people there instead of planning as if, it's like, a kid's birthday party with like 16 kids coming. You know that you're going to have 1,000 people standing in line for these things. Maybe assume 1,000 people can't get processed in 8 minutes, right? So maybe some of that planning could have helped. The next item is kind of funny because it relates to being a VIP. I will tell you, there haven't been a lot of times in my life where I have purchased a VIP package to something and felt like I was the majority. Usually when you purchase a VIP for anything, you are in the minority. So everybody has a particular ticket and you have a special one. For some reason, at the National, being a VIP felt like I had courtside seats to a basketball game with a court that went from Los Angeles to New York. Everybody was a VIP. Again, I'm talking about the optics. When I walked into the VIP room, pretty sure there was 2,000 people standing in the VIP room. Again, when you have a large convention, you shouldn't expect it's going to be 15 people. But, come on. It was a lot. It was a lot of people. And so I really think from a VIP perspective, parking was a perk. But the other things, I didn't even know when they were happening. Like, I didn't even know there was going to be food served on the kind of grand opening afternoon or evening. That they were gonna have like some chicken nuggets and some buns and some hot dogs that were called Chicago hot dogs. And by the way, Chicago, you should be offended. These were called Chicago hot dogs, but I still ate them. You better believe. So there was just a lot of people, and sometimes I would stand in lines and say, "This can't be VIP." Yeah, it is. Better believe. This is VIP. You and 12,500 of your friends here. You're all VIP. And I would say that they did a pretty decent job checking badges and those kind of things, but like, man, so many people. So I would really assess if VIP needs to be adjusted, and maybe there needs to be additional packages, or maybe there needs to be something special that can be tweaked, or maybe find a way to like up the price a little bit and reduce the number. Because some of the, and I know anybody watching this right now is like, increase the price. What are you, crazy? Actually, I'm not crazy, because part of the price that I'm paying for is I'm paying for the autographs, which I already mentioned. I didn't really use those autographs because I didn't really know who that was. And then the parking, which I think would have saved me $14 to $19 a day, somewhere around there, depending on where I parked, which was nice. But there wasn't really, like, other than the badge that kind of looked like a downtown card, which was kind of cool. Other than that, there was a lot of VIPs. A lot. There was a lot. A lot of VIPs. The next one is a quick one. Just trade nights. As great as they are, it was just confusing on what you had to do to take part. As a VIP, I was given like a blue bracelet, but then I was told later that that blue bracelet wouldn't allow me necessarily into the trade nights, and nobody could give me a solid answer on how I could get into the trade nights. That didn't involve me leaving the show floor 2-3 hours before the trade night would happen. Even when I went there one night, when the trade night was like an hour away from happening, I stayed in that VIP room where they were going to have the trade night, and they told us that we have to leave the room and go back downstairs and then like try to get a bracelet and then come back upstairs and stand in line. It was kind of confusing, which could explain why there was a huge mass exodus around like 5 o'clock on some of the days, because I think people were like, I'll just go back to my hotel room and chill, and then go do a trade night in the hotel lobby. Some people at the Hyatt, the Hilton, a lot of different hotels in the area just turned trade night into, out of their hotel lobby. So that was just confusing, the entry and how all of that worked. I wish there was a little bit more clarity on that. The next item actually is very much connected to trade night, because I felt that buying, selling, and trading can happen anywhere at any time in the whole convention. It can happen outside on the sidewalk. Honestly, if you threw a French fry in front of you on the sidewalk, a seagull would come pick up the French fry. The next item is very much related to trade nights, because I felt that buying, selling, and trading cards can happen anywhere. Anywhere. And that was crazy to me, because you could literally be anywhere within the convention and you could, make a deal on a card. If you were outside and you were eating some fries and you dropped the fry, a seagull would probably come and try to take that extra fry off the sidewalk from you. While taking the fry, the seagull would probably check what cards you had in your case and make you an offer. That's how it was. And it's crazy. And they were only looking for cards from like the Eagles or the Seahawks or the Falcons. Let's see if you get that joke. But that's what the Seagulls wanted. But anyway, you could be wherever you want. You could be headed into the restroom. You can find people laid out on the floor. It literally was like it was like the medical tent at Woodstock or Lollapalooza or something. It was just people laid out on the floor with their cases there and comparing notes and counting their cards, how many they had, checking comps, those kind of things. And then the VIP room itself, you could walk in there at any time of the day, during the day. You could put cards in front of you. I literally walked in. I took like 8 or 9 cards, put them in front of me. I started eating some of the nachos that they had there with nacho cheese. And I was eating the nachos. and I sold a Joe Burrow card, literally with nacho cheese, like on my face. Um, that's how easy it was to kind of make those deals. So if you're gonna go to the National, just know your deals very much can be what you make out of that situation. Don't think it has to happen at a dealer table. Don't think it needs to happen at the official trade night. You could be walking around and somebody could be standing in line trying to sell to a dealer. They tell the dealer that they don't necessarily like the price, for example, and they start walking away. You could say, hey, can I see that? So I had people walking up to me and saying things like, hey, are you the one that has the ABC card, whatever it happened to be? And I'm like, how did you know that? Well, my friend just told me, and they told me, look for the guy with that color hat. And he was just holding the card you're looking for. Like, that's how crazy it got. I actually love that. So kudos to allowing for more spaces and opportunities for that. And I loved having good conversations with people about cards, unless unless we're talking about some of those 8-year-olds that were really just not impressed with what I've done in my life, and thought that I should just pack it in. So I mentioned this kind of jokingly earlier. The food is good, man. It was good. I didn't say great. I didn't say excellent. I didn't say they were serving filet mignon kebabs and walking around and that, some sort of Victoria's Secret model would serve you grapes. I didn't say that. I didn't say that. But what I would say is a lot of people were going into it telling each other, and I saw online people talking about, oh, well, your stomach better be ready. Oh, you're going to National. Get ready for chicken tenders every single day. Honestly, I think you could have eaten, a decent meal every day. You could have had Mac Attack with the, mac and cheese. They had that set up there. They had sushi, poke bowls. They had, hot dogs, cheeseburgers. They had enough stuff to where you wouldn't have to actually eat the same thing every day. And that's if you didn't leave. If you leave, you can go to a steakhouse down the street. A lot of people are like, oh, they don't have reservations. Okay, there's this new thing that they started, I think back in the 1930s, which is called takeout. You can also just order it and just sit outside in the beautiful 72-degree weather and enjoy an amazing sandwich if that's what you want to do. Or bring your own food through DoorDash, or just go pick up a bunch of food and just sit it in your bag. People were saying, get ready for taking granola bars, and people were talking about ration. There was like doomsday prepper hobbyists in the corner that were just like, we've got some Campbell's soup here. You can use your PSA card to open the top and drink the soup. We got to survive, man. I'm like, what is happening? So there's plenty of food, options that you could have. You just got to be ready to spend a little money. The sad part is about anybody in the hobby, you know how this is. You look at everything that you're buying as a card, be like, man, did I just drop a Michael Penix on that T-bone steak? I definitely did. So as long as you weren't worried about dropping a Michael Penix on your T-bone steak, I think you could find things to eat. I think it was okay. The next thing is I want to enlighten y'all and put you on game about those pop-up chairs that everybody were talking about on Amazon or wherever, where it's literally in this like case. It's about this big. I'll show a photo. Maybe I'll pop it right here. You literally take this thing, you turn it, and it expands out. You could put it on the ground, and then it has even like a little small cushion. That cushion ain't for somebody like me. Like maybe if you're like $110, $125, but like my left side is $125, so that don't work for me. So I can't necessarily get too much comfort there, but it gives me an alternative when I want to sit. And for people who think that you're on your feet too long, you also can just leave the floor and go back out to the lobby, go back out to the VIP room and just chill and relax. If you really wanted to. And there was also plenty of like sidewalk space and people kind of sitting outside, people walk down the street. So you had options, but it can be a lot. So those little pop-up chairs, you put that in your bag and carry it around with you. It really made all the difference, and it's not that expensive. I highly suggest you invest in it because It really saved the day. And this is not an affiliate link, and this is not anything else. So don't even get it twisted like I'm trying to sell y'all something. I am not Amazon, and I am not whoever that vendor is. So go get one of those things. It will help you a lot. Not just at things like the National, but at your any card show, especially if you're a dollar bin person that wants to sit there for a while. These things are a dream. All right, the next thing, AC was blasting. People were afraid it was going to be 1,000 degrees. It definitely was not. It was even chilly. My wife was constantly putting her sweater on. She felt that it was cold. So AC was cranking. What wasn't cranking was I kept hearing that we were going to have this special Wi-Fi that was going to be the world's fastest Wi-Fi because they had done some renovations to the Wi-Fi systems. No, not really. There was, especially if you were trying to comp a really popular card like a Jaden Daniels, Prism card. The Wi-Fi was so slow that like the comps would change by the time you refresh. Like, just being honest, the Wi-Fi was slow at times and would drop and disconnect at times. So that's still a problem. More reason to comp everything before you go, and also more reason to comp cards even that you don't have that you're intending to buy, so that you have a rough idea on what those are going to cost when you get to the booth and you don't have to look it up. I saw a lot of people walking up to the booth and trying to comp things out for cards that you knew going in that you wanted to buy. So if you're hunting for a JJ McCarthy, find those 10 cards on eBay or wherever else a few nights before, find out what you want, find out how much they're going to cost, make yourself a little, spreadsheet, and God forbid you print it out. Yeah, print it out and take it with you. It'll be okay. You don't need internet for everything. You don't need a smartphone. There was a time where we operated without smartphones, So go back to that time. By now, if you've watched this video, you have gotten to my final item, which is lucky number 13. This last piece that I want to talk about anytime I'm doing a recording, I can expect that there's going to be a text message string. Unbelievable. All right, let me silence this. Okay. By now, if you're watching this video, you have arrived to the final point. By now, if you're watching this video, you have arrived to the last point that I wanted to make. I do get a little bit worried about people losing sight of what could be a great thing, which is a hobby and collecting. I do feel that there are some adults and kids, and maybe I'm one of them, who goes to these card shows and collectible shows and feels less than, and feels insignificant, and feels that if they're not collecting that rare ultra one-of-one $1 million card, that they're not worthy of being there, that they're not a true collector. And I am worried that a lot of folks who are trying to kind of build something around the hobby are building it based around wanting more attention and more eyes. And it's more of an ego thing as opposed to just being something you do because you enjoy it, or doing something because it's a business and you want to create a business within there. And I feel like there's a lot of people who are skipping the love and infatuation portion of the process and going straight into the business part. I really am not a big believer that you can create a business around something that you never loved and maintain it for a period of time without at some point feeling like you're doing something that's not important. And so what I wanted to do is I wanted to ask some people that I was running into that have been doing this for a long time in various different tracks. And I wanted to ask them a single question. What would you say to somebody who feels a little bit intimidated walking into the National, knowing they don't have that big bankroll, or they don't necessarily know exactly what they're there to collect, and they don't know a good deal when they see it, and they just kind of feel like they're keeping up with the Joneses, and they just have to keep spending or just doing or moving because everyone else is, and they need to keep up? What do you say to them? And so two of the people I want to highlight in this video are Gary Vee, who you all should know. Not only is he running V Cards, but he is a successful business person that has built so much around hustle. And I think his opinion on the matter was a great response, and I'm going to let you hear that. And then the second person is Jay with Mojo Sports. And the reason I selected Jay for this is because I really feel like Mojo Sports has been wearing his emotion on his sleeve and trying to start a new card shop. And I feel like there have been times where he's gone from feeling like he's very much on top of the mountain into a space where it's like, what do I do next? And even though a lot of people will watch his channel and think that he has it all sewn up and he's got everything taken care of and there's not a worry he should have in the world because he's Mojo, I think it was great to hear his response too. So thank you again for watching the video thus far. I'd love for you to hear what Gary has to say. So let's go ahead and we'll start that.
So I just bought the Notorious Ninja.
Notorious.
So I have a question for you, and I know you'll appreciate this. One of the things that I try to do in this kind of rebrand of collectibles company I have is really educating a lot of people on, like, stop looking at like this craziness you see on the internet and thinking tomorrow it needs to happen, that you have to build it and try to educate people.
Patient panda.
Right, exactly. And so the question that I have for you is, it can be very easy people to come to a convention like this, get really intimidated and feel like they're priced out, that they're $50, can't build into everything we see here. So I just wanted to ask you, what would you say to people like that?
That my favorite tables at the National are the dollar bins, where you can find $7 cards and literally flip them on eBay. Literally, with $100 at this show, by only going to the dollar bin tables, you could buy 100 different cards and make $700 or $800 in profit on eBay easily. Or if you're not in it for the business of the flipping, buy 100 cards that you really adore. It's like anything in life. Like, yes, some people fly in private planes and others fly coach. And a coach flight is a miracle. It's hard. Like, only 100 years ago, you had to take a boat to get to Europe. So I think we've become so FOMO'd out, so keeping up with the Joneses, so overvaluing money and fame and luxury, and it's a mistake. And listen, I'm ambitious, I'm hungry, but you know this by following me. I'm not looking to show flash or things like that. I believe in humility. Look what I'm doing right now. I'm behind the table working like a card show.
That's why when people ask me, I was telling somebody about you, they're like, how do you spell that? They were looking at Instagram, and I was like, I spell it Hustle. Hustle.
Oh, man, I love you. Glad you're
I
here.
appreciate it,
Enjoy
man.
the show.
Thank you so much.
That was amazing to me to hear. And I know some people may say Gary's not 100% into the hobby, which means you don't really know enough about Gary Vee. But let's assume you're correct for a second, which you aren't, but let's assume you are. Let's also hear now from Jay with Mojo Sports and see what he has.
A lot of content. I've been asking a lot of folks like yourself just to give a response to this. When you walk around here, a lot of people are looking at $80,000 cards, $100,000 cards, $150,000 cards. Like, while we're in line, I watched a kid stand by the trash can, open up a pack, and he's like, because like sometimes this kind of scene can be intimidating to people because they're like, I don't have a $100,000 card in my backpack. And so a lot of the people that I'm talking to, very similar to what you say in your videos, I'm educating them on like, hey guys, do what you love, man. Forget all of this hype or whatever. You'll get there eventually. You got to build it. So what would you say to somebody who easily can walk in here, see all the videos, see all the stuff, 20,000, 30,000, but thinks like, I will never get there, so I shouldn't get into it? What would you say to somebody like that?
Yeah, I would say...
I won't clip this. I'll just hold it for you.
Oh, yeah. I'd say, dude, I've been there, dude. I mean, I get it. Like, this hobby is intimidating. Like, the guy had the Otani cards. The guy that came up and
Yeah, it's like $500,000.
oh, $500,000 right in
Easy,
front of me.
easy.
You know, my mind doesn't. I don't ever feel obligated to buy any of it, and I don't feel jealous. I admire it because it's beautiful.
Right,
and like, if I really want to get it, I'll get it one day.
Yeah.
But I just think you got to build your way up. Every collector's on their own journey.
Yeah.
It's the journey that gets you.
Yeah,
You can't think about the destination. Like, just because someone has $100,000 cards doesn't mean they have a, you know.
Yeah.
We're all in the same pot.
Right,
you know,
right,
I try to treat people just like we're here doing this. You and I are doing the same thing.
Yeah.
You got a camera, I got a camera, a microphone, but we appreciate cards.
Yeah.
That's why you gotta have a PC.
Yeah.
But if you are intimidated or you're scared, like, that's normal.
Yeah.
Like, my first Dallas show, I didn't know what I was doing when I brought the camera, the GoPro out. I was terrified.
Yeah.
And we were filming with the guys with Kobe, the Kobe cards.
Right.
$1 million.
Yeah.
I was so scared to talk to them, and they were so nice to me.
Yeah.
They happen to be Persian as well.
Yeah.
It kind of
That
helped.
works. Yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah, when I set up at shows, a lot of
I think
times
you got to
it's-
lean into the fear and
Yeah.
anxiety. Like, it's so real. Like,
Yeah.
but it doesn't matter. Like, and I think people like my content because I go in the dollar boxes.
Yeah.
Oh, I just bought. What did I buy? I just bought like a Bobby Witt card just because I like him.
Yeah.
Like a $5 card. Like,
Yeah.
but I like it.
Yeah.
That's just what I like. So I think the whole buy what you like thing is working. But dude, I think the fear and anxiety is a given.
Yeah.
If you didn't feel that, it'd be weird.
Yeah, for sure.
It's a lot of money.
100%.
I grew up in this hobby, and I was buying LeBron James autographs, exquisite autographs for $750.
Yeah.
Those same cards are worth $50,000. I don't own any of them.
Yeah.
So I think I'm just numb to it.
Yeah.
I remember when these cards were cheap.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think for me, it just seems normal, but it's like I was a part of the hobby when it wasn't that cool.
Yeah.
Now
Yeah.
it's like, you look around, you can't even, there's a line of people trying to sell me and hang out and talk.
Right, exactly.
It's
That-
crazy.
That's why even when I set up at shows, like I grab some of these kids that I see tossing stuff. I'm like, bro, sit down, let me talk to you.
Yeah.
Like, if you're already doing this and you're like 8, what are you gonna do? And you're never gonna be able to even like have a relationship one day. If this is if
It's
you're
a
gonna
balance.
Be so
It's got to be a
transactional.
balance
Yeah.
for sure. Like, I think if you're gonna, I always say if you're gonna sell stuff, you sell so you can keep something.
Right.
I
Yeah.
just sold my Jackie Robinson.
Yeah.
That my dad gave me the card. Said, "We're
Yeah.
building a card shop. You're gonna sell it.
Yeah.
Sell the card."
Yeah.
I sold the Jackie Robinson within an hour. I called my dad. He's like, "All right, we're building the shop." You know, it's like, I'm ready to build this shop, man. If I gotta sell stuff to build this dream shop and it'll help people, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna sell things now. I'm
Yeah.
okay with it.
Yeah.
Not my Aaron Rodgers, DeMarcus Cousins stuff.
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
You know, so that's my 2 cents.
Yeah. Well, props.
And so that is it. We have made it. We've gone through the 13 items that I wanted to detail, and you just heard on those last points on why you really should take it step by step and kind of learn that hustle and learn that love and really remember why we're doing all of this and why we collect and understand that every individual is going to be different. Your motivation for what your favorite sport is, your favorite player, your favorite parallel, your favorite set, your favorite type of card, your favorite grading company, you have your own individual DNA, right? You have your own individual hobby DNA. No one else has the same hobby DNA as you. So find out what your DNA is and just go after it. Trying to mix your DNA with somebody else's is just going to leave you confused and burned in the end. So I really hope this video helped you understand a little bit on what I experienced at the National, what I saw, maybe some recommendations on how things can get better. And again, I'm applauding those that put together the National and applauding all of you, even if you're watching this right now. So again, make sure you like, subscribe, and tune in to Habibi's Collectibles on YouTube. We are also on TikTok now and on Instagram. All the links are down below. Please log on, give us some love, talk to us a little bit. We want to continue kind of provide this education and some insight into what we do. And I really appreciate you all watching. So Habibis, until next time, I hope you all have run off those calories from those deep dish pizzas. I'll see you at the next show. Take care, Habibis. Saeed from Habibi's Collectibles signing off.